Hello, are you choosing a word of the year? Here's how to make it even more powerful. So, if you've chosen a word of the year in the past and then come to the end of the year without having manifested what you wanted to be, do, and have, it's because you're doing it wrong. And today I'm going to share with you why your chosen word is not as important as the frequency it carries, and I'm going to share with you the 3-step process to ensure that your word is more powerful than it has ever been before, so that you make this year the most amazing year yet. If you know anyone else who might be interested in hearing what I'm going to drop today, make sure you share this video with them. They will thank you, and so will I. And listen, if you hear anything that I'm talking about that gives you an aha moment or opens you up to a thought that you haven't had before, I'd love for you to share whatever it is that you got the aha on and hashtag boom, so that I can come along and have a look at any ahas that you've gotten and perhaps provide you with something a little extra in the comments. Now, if you want to get the show notes for today's show, be sure to ask for them by dropping the word super in the comments. That's the word super, as in superhero and superpowers, and I'll get the show notes to you. So I'm Ann Alexson, and I'm the direct voice and healing channel for all that is. And as the Super Self mentor, I help people who feel disempowered and without purpose to activate their inner superhero, unlock their spiritual superpowers, and to find and live their purpose without being blocked by their trauma, fears, and BS or belief systems. And I do this through my proven Super Self system via the Super Self Academy, monthly membership, private mentoring, and group events. So, like me, have you been seeing all the word of the year posts that have been popping up since before Christmas? And more every day as we start to come into the new year. Maybe you've decided that you won't be choosing a word this year because you've done it before and it just didn't seem to make a difference in your manifesting and your level of success. So here's what you need to know about choosing a word, why they don't work, and what you should be doing instead. So let's first talk about a word of the year versus a frequency of the year. I personally choose a frequency of the year over a word of the year because words can be so passive. Words can carry frequencies that don't necessarily attune or align with your own frequency. So for me, every year I choose a frequency of the year. And the frequency is your predominant emotional feeling. So for me, frequency equals your predominant emotional feeling. So what is the predominant emotional feeling that you want to feel by the time you get to, and throughout this next year, but by the time you get to the end of the year? Here's the thing. If you make a decision about what frequency or emotional feeling you want to feel about your life throughout the year and on the day that the year finishes, when you're looking back on whether your word of the year worked or your frequency of the year worked, what is it that you want to feel inside emotionally within your frequency field? Because we all know that you attract into your life what you vibrate at, or what your predominant frequency is. So there's no point choosing a word that doesn't align with the way that you want to feel as you go through the year, and certainly as you get to the end of the year and look back and decide whether you were able to be, do, and have everything that you desired to be, do, and have this year. So for me, I'm always about the frequency. I'm a frequency healer, multi-dimensional frequency healer, working within the energy field, raising people's vibrational frequency. And so it wouldn't make sense for me to have any old word as my word of the year. Instead, I choose a frequency. And this year, just as I was last year, this year, I'm again using the desiring to have my predominant emotional feeling be that of the frequency of the super self. Now, the super self is that version of you that is fully self-actualized. That is the living embodiment of manifesting. That is the living embodiment of your purpose. Another way that I like to describe it is the version of you that's lived every lifetime that your soul has lived, both past and future. We'll talk about that another time. That version of you that is, in fact, embodied of your highest self. So, for me, I want to be that. That is my desire. I desire to be as close to enlightenment as I can be in every moment of my day. And so my chosen frequency of this year is of the super self frequency. Now, there's a 3-step process to find your frequency of the year and to truly step into the energy of it, allow yourself to be filled up with the frequency of it, and actually become the embodiment of that frequency. Whatever the word expression of your frequency is, here's how you find it. 3 steps. The first step, you're going to want to take some time now at the beginning of the year to write the story of your life as it unfolded in 2022. Now, you don't have to do day by day or week by week or month by month. Just simply write a story about the life that you've lived in 2022. A really easy way to do that is to imagine and jump into your future self who is standing there on the 1st of January next year. And from that perspective, look back over your life and imagine what you've achieved in the past year. What you've been, what you've done, what you've experienced, what you have brought into your life. In other words, what you've been, done, and had, and what you are continuing to be and do and have. So write that story down. Now, you can write it as a story. You can write it as a letter to your current self from your future self, or you can simply bullet point all of the things that you can imagine from your current frequency that you are going to want to achieve or create this year. So do that. Then step 2, you want to then look at your story. You want to read it and allow yourself to, or ask yourself the question, what is the predominant feeling that I will experience on the 1st of January next year, when I look back and realize I've achieved all of these things and I've done all of this and I've experienced all of it and I've been all of it? What's the predominant emotional feeling that you'll feel? And then that's going to be your frequency of the year. If indeed you feel abundant, we'll pick a nice easy one. If you decide that it's abundance that you want to be feeling on that first day of next year, then invoke the frequency, and this is step 3. You want to then evoke the feeling of abundance into your life every single day. And it's not as hard as it sounds. You don't need to know how it's going to happen. You don't need to know what it'll feel like when it happens. You can imagine that. So you don't need to know it. You don't need to have experienced it yet. But you can imagine what it's going to feel like when you stand on that day in a year's time and look back and recognize that, wow, I feel incredibly abundant. I am vibrating at the frequency of abundance. And what you want to do is you want to read or recite, speak, I like to speak things, that story, all those bullet points of what you have created throughout the year. And then just simply allow yourself to move into the frequency of it. to move your energy field into the frequency. Recite the story, read the story, allow yourself to get into the feeling every single day. Here's what's going to happen after that. You're going to find yourself having all sorts of things coming up to be faced. You're going to find yourself doing things that perhaps you've been wanting to do for a long time, but you've never taken action on. Because every day you're evoking and inviting in the feeling of abundance or the feeling of whatever it is for you. When you do that, that will raise your vibrational frequency. And as you raise your vibrational frequency, everything that doesn't match it has to be released from your field. That's actually a law. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Now, remember, if you want to get the show notes, be sure to comment the word super somewhere around here so that I can come back and I can send you a link to go and rewatch the video if you want, but also to receive the show notes, which might have a little bit more information on them for you. Righty-o, I'm just going to do a very quick, rapid, in fact, let's call it a super quick recap. The way you feel is what you manifest. So if you want to truly step into your word of the year, or as I prefer to say, your frequency of the year, so that you can be and do and have it all this year, here's how. 1, write the story. 2, decide what the predominant feeling is that you'll be experiencing when you achieve these things, when you be and do and have these things. And then last of all, every single day, read through the story and evoke the same feeling every day and bring it into your energy field as much as you can. And that's it. The super quick recap is done. Thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed what I've just shared and know anyone who might be able to benefit from it, make sure that you pay it forward and share this with them. I'll be back next week, same time, same channel. So be sure and join me again. And I'm Ann Alexson, the direct voice channel for all that is multidimensional frequency healer and your super self mentor, helping you to activate your inner superhero, unlock your spiritual superpowers, get on purpose without being blocked by your trauma, your fears, and your belief systems. Up, up and away, superheroes. Let's change the world together.